there's a late essay by Corbin uh, in which he addresses the I think he addresses what we would call here right now the philosophy of non-duality and the absorption of the ego into the totality. And he won't have any of it. I'm curious from a, I guess I'm curious from a objective scholarly point of view about Corbin's relationship with the philosophy of non-duality, but I'm far more interested in my own experience, which is no, too much going on. Wait. I want to revisit a thought that I had just to make it super clear for myself, which is that just yesterday, I guess it was, for the maybe the first time, I was able to imagine, intuit a I guess, well, I know what I was going to say, but it's not, it's wrong because of course it's wrong. A fullness, so that if you did stop thinking, something, uh, there'd be something there. Okay. Um, and yeah, this is what happened to me. And then I remembered then my seat in the train as it was moving I began to look out the windows and see, oh, it's been on a journey from very early on, when for whatever reasons everything closed down. Early on, everything closed down, and I've been trying to open doors and make the cosmology bigger ever since. There's lots of ways to do that. Philosophy is one, science is a magnificent and wonderful way. Poetry is pretty good, all of these. But there was my intuition reading about the state of non-dualism in Vini's version of it somehow clicked, and I recognized, or it occurred to me, that even as I spent my 6 years meditating, I still had the dome of intellect over me. And that's maybe a bad way to say it, but I had a dome of expectation, or and on that huge dome it said Buddhism, Hinduism, Atman, you know, and it was just a dome. And in reading Vini, and you want to get there, you want to read those words, you want to see what color it is, you want to know about it. And in reading Vini, the dome just disappeared. It's like, oh shit. And it should be scary. It's like, oh, unknowable, utterly unknowable. And in my little world, it goes all the way back to when I was, what, 15 or 14 or something. And I read JBS Haldane. My suspicion is that not only is the world stranger than we suppose, it is stranger than we can suppose. And that's what Jeremy Vini is saying. No, really, it is stranger than you can suppose and stranger than you can ever know. And until you really take that to heart, you're going to have that dome of intellect, or however you want to think of it, as the final trap keeping you from awakening. And when you do awake, you will disappear. which is, yeah. And so that was my little revelation. And in a way, it's a double-edged sword because Corbin got me to the point where I could take any of this seriously, and then did take it seriously for a very, very long time, but it's still not quite enough, as I suspect Corbin is trying to tell me, you know?
I like that you just said basically the numinous is a lot. By Thoreau, he said, "How can he remember well his ignorance, who has so often to use his knowledge?"
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
no, that is perfect. And I love that it's Thoreau. I'd be happier
yeah.
if it were Emerson, but he would have said the same thing. No, that is totally right.
Because Iamblichus and the Neoplatonists,
Yeah.
they want you to erotically bring the divine into your life. So it's not a rejection of ego. It's a
Mm.
if you have too much ego, you can't get to the one. But like the theurgic goal once you ascend is to bring the good into the world, to co-create goodness with a world, you know.
Okay, so here's the thing that is, I mean, yeah, here again is the thing that seems to have been really important for me individually. It's this crazy high weirdness stuff. I mean, I was into that as a kid because how could you not be? And I read Charles Fort and I loved, UFO stuff, and I read science fiction and horror and weird tales, just devoured that stuff. And then you go to college and you get educated and you can't touch any of that. Instead, we get ideas like the numinous or God or the transcendent. And there goes that dome of intellect. Even if you say, oh, yes, apophatic theology, that's still the dome of intellect. And then you get a 6 foot praying mantis on your doorstep, or you get little green men with bug eyes and little clowns, and you think, oh no, really weird, like super unintelligible craziness.